and welcome back for another CottageCutz YouTube video tutorial. This is Marla, and today I'm bringing you a little bit of Halloween fun featuring the Spooky Kitties, which was part of the Halloween 2022 release. Here's a look at those 3 cute kitties. I will also be using the Halloween chair in my video. There's a look at that Halloween chair. The Halloween items are available in the Scrap and Cottage at a 30% discount currently. I'm going to do a little bit of Copic coloring, not a whole lot. So I am just going to use a base coat of W7 on this crow, and then I'll add a little bit of detail around the wings and where some of the shadowing would be with a W9 marker. I colored all 3 of the kitties using the same color combination, so I thought I would just share a little bit by coloring one of the kittens up. Sorry. I started with a W6 marker, and I'm just mapping out the bottom half of the cat. I wanted to have some white socks, and I'm also going to leave a space on the chest that's white, so I'm kind of mapping that out with the base color. Once I get everything mapped out and in place, I'll add a little bit of shading with a W7 marker. And then when I determine that I like the shading that I have, I'll bring in a W9 marker, and then I'll start adding a little bit of that W9 to the head as well. As I mentioned, there is a sale going on for the Halloween release from last year. I absolutely loved the release. There were a lot of pieces, such as the cats and the chair, that I didn't have an opportunity to use. So I thought that this video would be a good time for me to pull out some of those great dies and get a cute Halloween card created. I am not a scary, spooky Halloween card creator. I tend to lean more towards the cutesy side, and so these little kitties were the perfect blend for my style. I did want to mention in my last video that I was giving away the folk art fox, and I wanted to mention that the lucky winner was B. Joyce. So B. Joyce, you are the lucky winner of the folk art fox. All you need to do is leave or send an email to Mary Marsh. Her information is in the description box below. Let her know that you are the lucky winner, and she will make sure that that die gets sent out to you. The kitty does have a separate piece that is the muzzle, and in those white spaces I am using a W2 marker, just adding a little bit of shading. Even though it is a white space and I want that white on the kitty, there would be a little bit of shadowing. I'll do the same thing to the muzzle, making sure that I keep that white, and then I will blend it out with a W0 marker. For this little tiny piece, which is the crow's beak, I'm using a YR marker. I can't tell you which one. I did not write it down, but I did use a yellow red, and I am going to add that to my crow along with the muzzle to the kitty. So the muzzle gives it a little bit of dimension. These kitties have 2 round eyes that you can color in. I do use a Copic. It's not a coloring marker, it's more of a detail marker that I have, and I do use that to color in the eyes. One of the things that you could do with these kitties is you could place the pupils in different directions to really give them silly expressions. So the eyes give a lot of expression, and I am going to make mine more on the cuter side, but if you wanted to make them cross-eyed, you could. You could have the eyeballs going in different directions, one going up, one going down. I think that that would look really fun and silly if you wanted more of a goofy kitty, but I'm going to keep mine pretty cute by just drawing in the center. I did color the ears with an R30 marker, and I also colored a spot on the nose. I wanted to add the whites to the eyes of the crow just so that it would stand out a little bit. And now we're moving on to our background. This background. So this was sitting on my desk. It has been sitting on my desk for a long time. I used a Tim Holtz 3D embossing folder, and the panel is only approximately 3¼ by 5½ inches, or 3½ by 5½, somewhere along that area. When it was sitting on my desk, I had a glue bottle explode, and you'll see as I'm doing the blending with the shaded lilac and the Victorian velvet that I'm going to have some resist areas that are white, and that's what that is. That's the glue. But when I picked up the panel, I thought that it looked kind of like spider webs, and I thought that it would be a good choice for a Halloween card, so I decided to use it. We're going to move on to some distressing. I wanted to talk about this a little bit. We have this Halloween chair. I used another Tim Holtz 3D embossing folder. It's one that has a wood grain to it. Ran it through my die cutting machine, and now I'm just adding a little bit of distress ink and gathered twigs. This is going to be more of a base layer. And I wanted this to look like it was old and like the, worn, and the paint was kind of chipping. And an easy way to achieve this is using some white paint. So here I have Tim Holtz Picket Fence paint, and I am just using a watercolor brush and brushing this on. You can see that I'm being pretty random, not making sure that I have complete full coverage. I don't need full coverage. If I wanted this to show a little bit more white, because when it's going over that gathered twigs, it is giving it more of a creamier tone. If I wanted it to be more white, I could set it aside and let it dry and then add another coat. But that wasn't the look that I was looking for. So that was a great way and an easy way to distress that chair and add a little bit of texture. Here's our background. As you can see, I did use an edger die. I had 2 little dies that cut out those borders that have that scalloped edge. I colored those with spiced marmalade, glued them to the edges, and then I centered that panel onto a 4¼ by 5½ inch top folding card base. I stamped my sentiment that says Happy Halloween out using Wilted Violet Distress ink, and then I die cut it with a sentiment strip die from my stash. I'm placing it at the very top because I want to make sure that I have enough room for both the cat to stand on the broom and for the sentiment to fit. So that is how I was able to get my broomstick down and in the right place, is just making sure that both of those elements were going to fit on top. For the broomstick and the kerchiefs on the kitties, I did use some glitter paper from my stash. I also used the same glitter paper for the hat on the kitty that's going to be on the left. When I glue down my chair, I'm going to glue it a little bit right of center so that I can make sure that that larger cat that has the witch's hat on, that she is able to fit on the left side. I'll add a little bit of foam tape to the back of her so that she gets a little bit of dimension. And as you saw, I did add the raven or the crow to the top spindle on the chair. For the pumpkin, I wanted to add that shimmer and shine, so once I colored it, I added a coating of art glitter glue over top, and then I just dipped it into some clear glitter that I had in my stash, and then I set that aside to dry. I added foam tape to the back of this cat, and then I realized I want the pumpkin crate to be sitting in front, so I removed the foam tape, added it to the pumpkin crate. I'll glue the cat down to the right side of the chair, and then I'll add a little glue to the foam tape on the back of the pumpkin crate, and we're getting this scene built. I'll add the pumpkin to the top of the chair. and I had to hold that down a little bit. Here's where we're adding that little pumpkin crate. You notice that I did color my pumpkins in more of a cream tone. For the cat on the broom, I'm going to add a little bit of foam tape because again, I like that dimension. And then once I add it to the top of the broom, I am going to center the sentiment on top that says Happy Halloween, and our cute little kitty card is going to be complete. So I am not good at sending out Halloween cards. I don't send them out often. In fact, last year I made one for my grandniece and I didn't get that one sent out. So I'm determined that these Halloween cards are going to go in the mail. I absolutely love making them, and I love the cute CottageCutz dies that really create adorable Halloween cards. I just need to get them in the mail. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to give it a big thumbs up. And until next time, I hope you have a fabulous day. Thanks so much for watching.